En af de måder, vi finder ud af, hvor svært det er med...
In the Congo, a former Belgian colony, the price of beer gives you a pretty good idea of the working conditions. If a bottle of beer costs $1, you know the logistics are easy. When the price is $2, it's somewhat more complicated. And when they charge you $4 for a bottle of beer, you know it's going to be really tough. Which means that somebody has to be pushing a bike with 2 cases of beer through the bush for a couple of months. But the Belgians left a very strong beer culture in the Congo, so it goes without saying that if you can't get any beer at all, it's almost impossible to work.
Så det virkelig, virkelig vanskeligt for os at arbejde.
Je t'aime, mais je ne suis pas sûr de tes sentiments. Excellence, Diamwana. Mamado Okweri, ya papa colonel Okweri. Président Domnalil, Horizon Massamba, le supérieur Charles Okoto, Yoka Cher de Poule, ya Aïcha Kobi Ferry. Ma mère sacrée, Michel.
Maz Linagor, the founder and manager of the Dan Church Aid demining program in the Congo, meets his successor, Hans Hartmann.
Velkommen til Kongo. Jeg er ked af, at jeg ikke kunne være på grænsen og møde jer.
As a volunteer ambassador for this program, I had the opportunity, along with photographer Esben Grau, to witness this changing of the guards up close, on a road trip that definitely wasn't paved for the faint-hearted.
Altså, vi har meget travlt med at redde liv hernede, så det er ikke en turisttur, hvor der blev afsat ekstra.
We're busy saving lives here. This is no vacation, and we don't have the resources to pay extra attention to people from the outside. The trip that you're about to take, that is how things are here.
Sådan er det her, ikke?
Our round trip in eastern Congo starts off in the village of Baraka on the bank of Lake Tanganyika. After a mission in the nearby mountains, we're headed by boat to the DCA headquarters in the town of Kalimi. A couple of days later, we're supposed to move inland to Nyunzu and later to Kabalo on the Congo River.
Okay, the road is very bad. Yeah.
Dan Church Aid covers an area the size of France, but it only has some 40 kilometers of paved road. The rest of the infrastructure consists of narrow dirt roads through the bush, so for travelling on land, motorbikes are the only proper vehicles.
Vi så I Baraka, folkehjælpslejr her.
It's day 2. We're in the Dan Church Aid camp in Baraka, and now we're headed for the mountains on a 2-hour bike ride on rough roads. Our mission is to demolish a stock of ammunition and grenades stashed away in the bush during the Civil War.
Og skyddag. Det er sådan cirka 30 kilometer senere i mudder og noget, der minder om stenbrud. Det har aldrig været en vej. Men det er sjovt.
Fortunately, we didn't wear our patent leather shoes on this trip. After a night of heavy rain, the dirt road has been transformed into a river of mud.
Altså nu kører vi op i bjergene her.
We're headed for a place called Fizi, a very fertile area. During the war, rivaling tribes fought over the farmland and a couple of nearby gold mines, and left behind a lot of unexploded ammunition. Neutralizing grenades and other post-war hazards is a primitive and crude task in the middle of the African bush. With pickaxes and shovels, a blast chamber is constructed on location, as close as possible to the ammunition stacked away by one of the tribes participating in the Civil War. The ammunition's been stashed away by the tribe called Mai Mai. In Swahili, that means water, water. Before they go into battle, they take a medicine that turns the enemy's bullets into water, making the Mai Mai warriors immortal. From his experience as military commander serving under the UN, Hans Hartmann knows about explosives and is very diligent on safety procedures.
Jeg har været rundt i verden, jeg har set folk blive slået ihjel. Jeg kan se, hvad det betyder, når folk bliver ramt af sådan noget skidt der. Bogstaveligt talt.
I've served in many combat zones all over the world, and I've seen plenty of what that stuff can do to people. Handling old and unstable explosives such as these is a risky business. So once I'm settled in, I might want to go and take a look at the procedures.
Der findes ikke noget ja-nej-spørgsmål på det, men det er klart, at nye øjne fører måske til nogle nye spørgsmål.
After a task well done, we're off to the DCA headquarters located in the town of Kalimi. It's a 2-day boat trip on the vast lake Tanganyika.
Okay.
We stop over in Kazimi, a small village that has neither electricity nor any other kind of illumination. In the darkness, a large group of children gather round the deminers. They tell them about some metal objects that they've come across in the neighborhood. For further investigation of what might well be old grenades, the deminers have the kids describe the exact location of their find.
Hvad så? Har det været en god tur?
Rigtig god tur.
After a rough ride on the lake, most members of our group are pretty exhausted, but spirits are still high, although both of our backs and behinds are killing us. But to some it is, as Maz puts it, just another day at the office.
Ja, det tror jeg, altså. Det er jo bare endnu en dag på kontoret, så... Der kom 12 krokodiller ind I går, som de så nubbede.
During the night, a pack of crocodiles came to shore and snatched a goat right beside where our boat was moored. The locals managed to kill one of them and offered the chief of the harbour some of the meat, but he declined, having lost his taste for that particular dish after a couple of kids were eaten by crocodiles some months ago. It's day 4 of our journey. We're moving on to the city of Kalimi, where the demining headquarters are located. It's a 6-hour trip if the motors run smoothly, a 12-hour trip if they act up like yesterday, or a 2-day ordeal if they go on strike. After arriving in Kalimi in the late afternoon, the current project manager takes his successor through the headquarters. A vast area around the city and along the lake has already been cleared of mines, and now the operation has moved further inland. With several forward bases in various cities and demining teams working on many locations, proper gear for communication is essential. Snapshots of working conditions in the Congo. Crossing a river with a truck, 4x4 on a couple of canoes tied together. And riding bikes on flooded roads.
Det her, det er så dit fremtidige kontor.
As the only NGO in Kalemi, Dan Church Aid has declined from using barbed wire to secure the premises. And so far, it's the only organisation that hasn't been burgled. On this board, all ongoing operations are registered. And so far, some 14,000 various hazards, such as anti-personnel mines, anti-tank mines and unexploded grenades, have been removed. It's Saturday, a rather quiet day in Kalemi, but we're going to try to stir things up a bit. Before we move on, we want to take out a huge mine found close to a runway, but in order to do so, we have to convince the local UN commander to stop all traffic in and out of the airport for a couple of hours.
Hank, we have just uncovered in the airport a huge booby trap, which is put in there to take out aeroplanes landing in the airport. The thing is, I've got a technical team in town now who is experts in this kind of big setups. They are leaving tomorrow morning, though, early. Do you think there's any possibility to push this one through this afternoon?
The mine by the runway was discovered by a woman working her field. The maze of cords and wires indicates that it's been rigged to detonate by remote control, so the utmost caution is called for. However, it turns out that the mine can be disarmed on location and is removed for later destruction. The power of this mine is devastating. If you hit a mine like that while you're driving a secure Volvo, it would blow the vehicle some 6 meters into the air and leave no survivors.
Det er søndag den 1. april, vi lagde fra Kalemi i morges.
On Sunday the 1st of April, we left Kalemi early in the morning with some 200 kilometers ahead of us. Now it's 5 in the afternoon, and due to the terrible roads, we've only covered 160 kilometers so far. Right now, we're crossing the Laguga River. The car, loaded onto 3 canoes, is on its way downstream, and soon we'll be back on track, headed for Nyunzu.
Bestemmelsesstedet for i dag, Nyunzu, der er vi fremme cirka klokken 19.
After a good night's sleep in the town of Nyunzu, the local program manager gives us a thorough briefing on the area, and then it's back on the bumpy roads. we're headed for a village called Ntuta, a place that's facing severe problems in the aftermath of the war.
Jambo. Habari. Musuri sana, musuri kidogo. Sana. Iko nguvu leo. Nguvu sana.
Tena mingi.
Asante, musuri.
Tupige kwa mwimbo kidogo. Simba usilale. Lale, lale. Simba usilale. Twende mapambano. Wawete usilale. Lale, lale. Wawete usilale. Twende mapambano. Wawete usilale. Lale, lale. Twende mapambano. Wajana musilale. Lale, lale. Chapakazi musilale. Twende mapambano.
Welcome once again, Hans, to Ntuta, and Melos is in, the TA in charge of. He's running the show. He's running operations here.
Life in the village has been tough for quite some time now. Actually, ever since Kalunda Fizi stepped on a mine and lost a leg. It happened on a day she'd gone to fetch water in the nearby river, and since that accident 4 years ago, the people of Ntuta have avoided using this path. Instead, the villagers collect water at a river some distance away, a 3-hour walk every day, hours that are taken from the daily work of growing crops and providing for the family. Securing the vital path to the river, therefore, has top priority for the deminers. They've been on assignment in Ntuta for almost a year now, and progress is steady but slow. Demining is a dangerous business, and on top of which, the working conditions in the Congolese bush are both strenuous and hot.
Min!
Ah, ile. Okay. Sawa, rudiani.
But there are other mines than those on the path to the river, and they're all potentially lethal, so they too must be found and disarmed. To that end, the villagers are instructed to recognize the signs of danger should they come across them. With proper training, they can be of great help to the deminers, and also be better equipped to look out for themselves. The people of Ntuta are paying undivided attention, so the training team sees the opportunity to teach another important lesson, the one about the deadly mine inside the body, HIV and AIDS. The campaign slogan consists of 3 words: fidelity, abstinence and birth control, to much amusement and some embarrassment. The latter part is demonstrated with a firm hand.
Det går da fantastisk. Vi har lige været ude og vandre på broer, jernbanebroer.
Ja, Machimo.
Anaingia tu pole pole tu mashine.
Den er varm, den her, du.
Hvordan går det?
Det går op og ned. Kan du sige det sådan der?
Hvorfor stopper vi, Hans?
Even for the Congo, this day is extreme. The engines overheat and we have to make several stops on our way to Kabalo.
Det er meget ret, der er en, der så kommer og tjekker det, fordi på det punkt, der så vil det tage noget længere tid, hvis jeg skal først begynde at lave fejlfinding.
Kører med et meget fladt baghjul. Det gør den lidt tung at trække.
Ja. Det man gang laver i hovedet andet end at slappe af hernede?
Jamen, vi skal jo ud og bade nu, så vi skal lige have badetøflerne på.
Although the weather calls for a refreshing swim, the water we're facing now isn't all that tempting. So, in order to stay dry, there are certain choices to be made. You can place your feet as high as possible, if you're willing to take the risk of losing your balance.
Tirsdag den 3. parti.
When both wet and worn out, reporting on location isn't too easy, even if the message is rather simple.
Mads, kan du ikke lige vente med at starte den der? Værsgo.
Det er blevet tirsdag den 3. april.
It's the 3rd of April, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been on the road since 10 in the morning. We've crossed the Louise River and will arrive on our destination, Kabalo, within an hour.
Hos de fleste, og vi er trætte.
I'm an old man, I'm 47 years old. And I'm coming outside the NGO world. So everything here is new for me.
Anatoka kumbuma departement ingine ya maorganisme. Hiki kinaingia moleo ni kiamupya kwake.
Salon José Mampuya na Londres. Vivi Nzamba bato yukaka na yema. Hapesi epekile mbaba fanda. Sima mikolo akomikola kisa ema kambo oyo. Amona na lute. José Mufundo mutema ya Tina Vewenda. Blandina putu na komprena kabasite. Basala babona lenga nini. Boss Ata opesi na yo. Belas Buzo. Memo salima so. Mike Minzunza. Konima na yeyote deja no makukula Gilbert Moïka motema ya Mère Rose Bali Trading Métis Madi Bijou na Élysée Mboma Blandine puta ya Salimawe Papa Mundabi na Grand Hôtel Yotina lingo mwaselima anyongolo Mamari Motoba Moyen Yotina lingo mwasendoki ya bebisa
Vi er i Kazinga.
We arrive at Kazinga, one of the larger villages on the Congo River. It's been cut off from the rest of the world because the roads leading to and from the village are heavily mined. Therefore, Dan Church Aid wants to set up a new camp here, and the purpose of our visit is to negotiate terms with the chief.
Now we know quite a bit about the mines in this area because King has been here and he's investigated it. But I also saw something that made me very sad, and that was the villages along the river which is flooded. Can you give me a little bit of a description of the situation with these floods so that I can understand the problem a bit better?